I'm at a bank and I want to sign a document. If I'm not carrying my hamko, they will not accept that document.
Hi everyone, welcome back to a new podcast. Welcome back to the language experience. And we are back after a small break. And today I will not talk about any European language, I will be talking about Japanese. And today's guest is Jaee. She has been learning Japanese for the past 5 years and now she runs a Japanese language school known as Enso. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my podcast, The Language Experience. And today we have Jaee, and she's a Japanese language expert. And I'll ask her to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, this is Jaee and I am the founder and teacher at Enso, which is a language class, and we are currently starting with Japanese language. Along with teaching Japanese, I am also learning Japanese, which is the advanced part, by doing BA in Japanese. And yeah, that's about it.
Perfect. Chalo, Jaee. So my first question for you is, why did you decide to learn Japanese? For me, I learned Spanish because I was interested in football. What was your reason?
So, like, I was just sitting idle on a random afternoon, and I asked my friend, what series should I start watching? And the friend recommended me anime instead of, some series. And I started watching Death Note, which is one of the most famous animes. And I really liked Japanese, like the way they speak, the politeness which they have. And also, Japan has been very amusing for me, like the technology they have, the kind of discipline they have. So I will say I was interested in Japanese because of the politeness of the language and also because of Japan. Because I want to go to Japan, so that highly motivated me to learn Japanese.
And when was this? When was this your friend suggesting you an anime? Which year?
So I think this was in 2017.
Okay, so it's very like it's recent.
Yeah, yeah,
So I thought maybe as a kid you were interested in anime or the Japanese culture or maybe the food, and that's how you decided, hey, I learned Japanese.
correct.
Okay, great. And before that, what were you studying? What were you doing? Uh, Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I was a science student, and like right from the start, I wanted to do engineering. So I was doing engineering at that time, electronic and telecommunication, ENTC engineering. And I mean, I did not actually want to do it, but we are raised in a society where you are either an engineer, architect, or doctor. So I was like, chalo, kar lete hai, like that. So I had that attitude. But uh, when I was in my second year and when I started studying the electronical things, so I realized that this is not something which I would want to do with the rest of my life. It was very boring for me. And the second thing is I was not happy with the 9 to 5 job which usually everyone has. So I wanted to do something more. I wanted to work for myself. And later, like as watched more animes, I fell in love with Japanese even more. And I wanted to study Japanese, but I couldn't because of the engineering degree and everything. So I dropped out of engineering in the second year, and then I started doing Japanese full time.
Okay, so you dropped out of engineering, and then wow, that's a bold move. And how did your parents react to it?
Yeah, so my parents were actually very not like they were not happy because engineering, it gives you some kind of base, like you can get a job and that fixed base. But they also knew that if I didn't want to do something, there is no stopping me. I will not listen. So at first they were not happy, but later they also supported me to, follow my dreams.
But back then you had a decent idea. Okay, I'm leaving engineering, which is a fairly stable. Let's say you find a job and it's a stable career after that. And picking up Japanese, where people are not sure if firstly they'll be able to learn the language, and secondly if they'll be able to make money or get a job. So because for me, I learned Spanish because I wanted to go to Spain, watch football matches, and that's it. I did not think about any job. I did not think about making money. What was your what was going on in your head that okay, I'm learning Japanese right now. Will I be able to make money or not?
Right. So yeah, I hadn't planned anything. Like I was not sure whether I would, be suitable for Japanese because like everyone says, it is very difficult to learn. And fortunately, one of my relative is learning Japanese. Like she has learned Japanese and she is doing translation for Japanese. So I had, talked to her many times about this and what opportunities are there. So I had like a fair idea that maybe I can go and become a translator or an
Hmm.
interpreter.
Hmm.
But I did not like have a set, what do we say, set goals. Like after engineering, I'm going to do this, this, this. I hadn't thought of any of that. I just knew at that point that I cannot do this engineering anymore.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And yeah, so
Okay, I got it, got it. Now I want to know, here in Delhi we have institutes that teach Japanese and you have levels. But while we were talking, you told me that you did your graduation in Japanese, which is something new for me. I've never heard it. Here, at least in Delhi, we have no concept of doing your graduation in Japanese. Firstly, where did you find it that you can do your graduation in a language? And how's the experience of doing a graduation in Japanese rather than just learning from an institute?
right. So I'm actually still doing it. I haven't graduated yet. I'm in my third year. And so, like, when I dropped out of engineering, I like sought out Japanese classes, and my Japanese teacher actually did BA in Japanese. So she suggested me, now since you have dropped out engineering and you want to focus completely on Japanese, you might as well go full in Japanese and do BA, in which
Hmm.
you will learn Japanese thoroughly, like all the details and everything. So she introduced me to BA in Japanese. There is a college in Pune which is called Tilak Maharashtra Vidyapit, and there is BA in Japanese there. So after that, I took admission for BA in 2020.
Okay, okay. And do they teach literature in Japanese? Like
Yes,
in my BA in Spanish, yes. After the first year, you have literature. So there's literature in Japanese as well. Is
yes.
it difficult? Is it difficult?
No, actually, like we have different parts. When you come to BA, we have different parts. Like we have literature and history in Japanese, and it is
Hmm.
quite interesting. It's not like people feel that what are they going to teach in history and literature, but it
Hmm.
is very interesting, and you get a lot of aspects of their culture and the history and everything. So that is there, and we also have business Japanese. So that is again one of the most beneficial things of doing
Oh,
BA.
what is business Japanese? They teach you specific kanjis.
No, so in Japanese language there are many politeness levels,
Okay.
and when you enter the business side, like when you are going and interacting with another company, you have to talk in a specific way. Like you have to talk and behave in the specific politeness level. So they teach you how to say things and what your gesture should be.
Hmm.
So that is also very important.
Okay, let's talk about the politeness level. I have some idea of it because I watch anime, I watch a lot of Japanese videos. I'm interested in Japanese culture and food. I have certain idea, like you have to behave in a certain manner in Japan. But from you, I want to know your aspect, or people who are watching, they would also want to know what is this politeness level of
Uh,
in Japan.
Right. So I will give you one example. When you are interacting with a businessman, so
Hmm.
usually in India, the concept of business cards is almost extinct now.
Yeah.
So we have our resumes and emails and things like that. But in Japan, the concept of business cards is worshipped a lot. And let's say that you are a businessman and I am meeting you for the first time. So I will take out my business card and I will hand it over to you with
Two hands,
two
right?
hands.
Two hands.
Yes.
Yes. And I have
And
to accept it with two hands.
yes. And the most amazing part of this is when you accept the business card, you have to look at it for at least 20 seconds and observe everything in detail.
If I don't, then I'm a rude person.
Yeah, yeah. It will seem
Wow.
a bit strange. Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. And this is one thing, okay, in business card. Let's say if I am traveling to Japan, I'm meeting somebody for the first time, a
Mhm.
stranger.
Right.
What is the correct way to act or react or talk to that person?
Right. So first thing you're going to bow, like it is very mandatory there. Like when you meet someone, you have to bow. And
Okay.
it's like so drilled in that if I bow, that person will bow. Then again I have to bow. And sometimes it keeps happening for some time. So we don't stop. Like if I bow, he will bow. And he will not stop. I will have to stop. So that is one thing again. Like you
What
have
is the maximum? What is the maximum number of bows that you have done
so I haven't been to Japan yet, and I haven't interacted with
with
many
any?
Japanese people. So
Hmm.
when I, meet that person face to face, at that time I will be able to answer this question.
Okay, so no bow. You bow, then I bow.
Yeah, yeah. But
Okay, okay.
I think one of my student has told me this that in her society there was like one Japanese visitor, and then she bowed him, and then he bowed him, and that was like going on for I guess 20 seconds. So I have heard
Wow,
this from that student.
wow. I want to know more things about peculiar things if I compare Japan to India or Japan to the Western world. Tell
Mhm.
me anything which is very peculiar or unusual about Japan or Japanese compared to India or let's say the Western world.
Right. So the thing which shocked me to the core was I came across news while I was doing a project, and that news was usually in Japan people travel by trains.
Hmm.
90% of the population goes like commutes by trains. So there was a news that a train company apologizes for being 35 seconds late, and I was like, what?
That is not late.
Yeah, and it was 35 seconds, and it was on the front page of the paper. And I was like, oh my God, this is
I
like,
think
this is,
even I've read this news where they apologized and they gave a letter to every
yes,
passenger so that they could show to their
show it to,
company
yes,
and that I am not late. It was the train
yes,
because of the train I'm late. So please pardon me.
yes. So,
Do you know have any idea about the working culture in Japan? Like people who are in the corporate. Do you want to talk about that?
yes,
Because I have done watch a bunch of videos. I don't know if you follow this guy on YouTube abroad in Japan. It's a
yes, I
British
do.
guy,
I do.
and the other people trash talk.
Yeah,
The other the 4 or 5 people who are foreigners who are living in Japan. I watch their videos. I learn about a lot about Japan. So they talk a lot about the Japanese work culture. And I'm
hmm,
pretty sure you're learning the language. You're well versed with the culture.
right.
Are these just stories or like what is your take on it? I just want to know what is your take on the Japanese work culture.
Right. So we have been listening that Japanese, like, Japanese people work a lot, and they have this concept of overwork. You will work more.
What's the word for it? What's the Japanese word for it?
It's called Zangyo, which is
Zangyo.
overworking. Zangyo.
Zangyo. Okay,
Yes.
I'll try to find and attach here on the video. Zangyo.
Zangyo.
Okay.
Yes. So the culture of overtime is very normal for Japanese people, and they enjoy to do it. So it feels very weird for foreigners, but actually Japanese people like to do overtime, and it is their own decision, we can say. And I have come to know that this overtime sometimes is also like based on the decision. So if you don't want to do the overtime, you can go home. So there is no compulsion as such. And also in today's world, there are two types of companies. The companies who have been there for like 20, 30 years and who are working on the system of hierarchy.
Hmm.
So hierarchy means in that company, if you get a job, you will have to work there for let's say 5 years, and then only you will get a promotion.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard it. Your talent does not matter. It's the
Yes,
time that you have spent in the company.
yes. So that is one type of company, and second type of company is which has been started by a young person. So in that company, then you will have the opportunity of going up or working according to your experience, your knowledge, and not on the basis of hierarchy. So these are
Okay.
the two types of emerging companies. And yeah, so basically this overtime concept is decided by the person. It is not compulsory that you have to do this. If you want to do it, you can do it. And if you
Okay.
do it, you get paid for it as well.
Okay, I thought it was an unsaid rule because okay, we are not there. We only hear stories. I thought it was an unsaid rule where if let's say your senior or your leadership comes at 10 p.m., you have to be there at 9:30, and if they leave at 8 p.m., you leave at 8:30. Like
Uh,
it's an unsaid rule. Like it's not written anywhere, but people do it out of respect or maybe out of okay, he's senior to me.
Right. No, I don't think this is there. I think there is this one more interesting thing which I really like is, let's say that I am the boss and you are a junior person and you are leaving for home. So they thank every person when they go home for their hard work every single day. So it's
Okay.
not like that the boss will go first and then the employee will go. It's not like that. Maybe Japanese people might be doing that out of respect, but
Hmm.
it's like not looked upon like, oh, you are going first. It's not like that. So,
Okay. Okay. And what about the stories where people are so overworked that they would sleep anywhere on the train stations, on a bench in a park?
right. So actually, that is, I can say, half myth, because what people do there in Japan, they like the culture of drinking a lot. So let's say that we are employees. So after we are done with the work, we will say, okay, let's go for a drink. And then they will go to this restaurant A, they will get drunk, and they will be like, okay, let's go to this restaurant now. So from there, they will go to restaurant B, again they will drink. From there, they will go to third restaurant. So this is there a lot. And that's why, like, once they get drunk, they know that they don't want to cause any commotion or things like that. So sometimes they just sleep wherever they are, might be on the road, on the bench.
Okay.
That is the
So-
case.
And from there, the next morning they go to the work.
Yeah.
Wow,
So
unheard of.
yeah. So again, this was something very new for me. Yeah, they have multiple parties, we can say.
Okay, one night they go to multiple places. They got drunk, and instead of going back home, they're like, "I'll just sleep
Yeah.
here."
Yeah. Because
Interesting,
like
interesting.
they are like, "Ki, I don't want to cause anyone any problem, and I am drunk. I don't know how will I be able to reach the home safely. So I'll just sit here or sleep here. Then they might be going home and then they might be going back to the work.
Okay, because relatively Japan is a safe country.
Very safe, yes.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Now, I want to know this. You mentioned about young companies, companies that are run by young people and old people. I've always seen this conflict between the old Japanese people, the senior citizens, or the quote unquote boomer generation versus the younger generation. There's a massive difference in them. Do you wanna tell me or you wanna talk about that? That how they are not so welcoming to foreigners, but the young people are. The young people want to do certain things which old people do not agree to.
Right. So yes, I mean this difference is there. Like for example, if you go to a traditional company, whenever they are conducting an interview, they will ask you to write Japanese. So they want to
Okay.
check your handwriting as well. And if your handwriting is not that good, like it should be moderate, not very low. They don't expect like very high good handwriting, high efficiency, but it should be understandable. And if it is not, then your points are maybe cut down. So this is one thing which our teachers have told us. Like for interviews for even the young generation, they might ask you to write everything down, like write a line in Japanese, write a kanji. And so that's why we have to work on our handwriting as well. So this is something which I have observed, but I think it is a good thing, like not a
But
bad thing.
sitting in India, do you really need to write kanjis? Because I had people who were working with me in Spanish, but they decided to learn Japanese, and they found a way. They found a way to wiggle through. Was we don't have to write Japanese. The N5 N4 JLPT exam is a MCQ, so we
Yes,
don't need to learn it. We'll get a job. Who cares about writing in Japanese?
right. Yeah, so writing kanjis is not compulsory, even if you go to Japan. The thing which you need to know is how to read a kanji, because
Okay.
everywhere you will find kanjis, and without kanjis, you won't be able to survive. So, reading should be important, and if like depends on your job, but I will say that reading from kanji to the main script and main script to kanji should be able to, the person should be able to do that. Writing, it's fine, like if you're going there for only some time, like let's say a month or a year, you will,
Hmm.
learn to write, but writing is not that necessary.
Okay,
Kanjis.
right. Writing is not that
Yeah.
perfect. So when I think about writing, there's this very funny concept in Japan that they do not sign. They have a
Yes.
stamp. What do you call that? The stamp?
It
Uh,
is called hanko.
Hanko. So people have to carry Hanko,
Yes.
and instead of you're giving your signature, example, I am at a bank and I want to sign a document. If I'm not carrying my Hanko, they will not accept that document. Let's
Right.
say I forgot my Hanko at home, which
Mhm.
is a very primitive idea where I'm this person, I'm sitting in front of you, I can sign you, take my document, finish my work, but I have to go back home, get my Hanko,
Right.
stamp it with my Hanko, and then they will accept the document. It is very primitive. What do you think about the Hanko concept?
For me, I like it a lot because you can,
Yeah, it
make
is fancy. It is fancy. But
it is very
technology,
nice. Yeah.
but in 2023, you don't need Hankos, at least in my opinion. But tell me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have to do things like, but it is there for everything. Like even for Aadhaar card, if you forget it, you will have to go. Even if you are sitting in front of that person, they will still make you go and get that document.
Digital copy works. Digital copy works. You know it.
Yeah. So hi. So like that. I mean, it's not that a big of a deal for me. Like
Okay, okay,
just
Hanko.
carry, just maybe make some extra stamps. Just put one in your bag, one in your purse, one in, your school bag, college bag,
Okay.
whatever, like that.
So do you think is it easy to copy a Hanko?
Mm, no, I think they will have some rules about it. Like you have to do this, but I don't think it's too harsh. I think
Hmm.
because most of the, like many people might have the same name as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, but they might have some rules about it.
Hmm. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. So now I want to talk about the Japanese pop culture. There's a lot of movies coming out of Japan. There's a lot of music coming out of Japan. Series, anime, food is so popular. What is that one thing that attracts you the most, or makes you feel, hey, I want to do this in Japan. I want to go to Akihabara. Okay, I want to eat in this ramen shop, or I want to go to Hokkaido.
Right. So there are so many things. For me personally, I want to go to each and every corner of Japan, right from Hokkaido to Okinawa, because
Okinawa. Okinawa is on my list.
yeah, because wherever you go in Japan, you will find something which is completely unique and completely mind-blowing. So it's not like, I mean, I don't have any particular, I have to go there. I just know that I have to be in Japan for so long as I can just do everything, like
Hmm.
with no rush or things like that.
Top three places that you want to go outside your Tokyo, Kyoto, and Osaka.
So Hokkaido is one of them,
Mm.
and Kyushu is there, and Sapporo is also there. So these are again different prefectures, like states.
Hmm. Sapporo is the upper island, the northern island, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay,
It
okay,
is,
okay.
I think,
Oh.
below Hokkaido. I don't remember it very well, but I mostly it is below Hokkaido.
Okay, okay, got it, got it. And what is your opinion on the vending machines in Japan? The number of it.
I love it. I love it. The
You
the
like it?
Yeah, the other day I was just watching some video and I saw that they have a vending machine for puppies, and I was like, oh my
Puppies.
God,
Like
yeah,
you put money and a
yeah,
puppy comes out.
yeah, yeah, and I was like, this is crazy.
Cruel, cruel for animals, don't you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, it is, yeah. That shouldn't be done actually, but yeah, crazy again.
And tell me about that one street in Tokyo that I want to go. Do you want to go to Ginza, Shibuya, or Akihabara?
Yeah, like I said, I want to just go everywhere, but there
Hmm.
is this I don't remember the name of it. Some lab, Tokyo
Hmm.
lab, where there are like a lot of projections. There is, I forgot the name of it, but it is called something something lab,
Hmm.
and it is very famous. And you go there, and it is like a 4D experience type where there are projections.
Okay, okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, so I would definitely like to go there.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Perfect, perfect. Do you like the weather in Japan? It's
Yeah, so
you. You're from Pune. You're from Pune, and then Japan is extremely cold.
yeah, so cold is fine. The only thing I would not like is the constant rain because the weather is kind of rainy in Japan most of the times.
Hmm.
So yeah, but I mean for the fun which Japan is giving me, I can sacrifice the weather, so it's fine.
Okay. And one food that you wanna eat or you wanna try in Japan? Just in Japan. There's one thing. Definitely, we have had our sushis, our ramens here in India.
Yeah,
But that one food I want to eat just in Japan,
I want to try out tempura.
tempura.
Yeah,
Well, are you non-vegetarian?
yes, I eat
Okay,
non-veg.
perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect. Otherwise, you would have a really hard time in
yeah.
Japan. Perfect. So now coming out of Japan, we had a bit about Japan, the country. I want to know what are the job aspects or opportunities after learning Japanese? What are things that you can do? Just be tell me whatever you know about it.
Right. So, after learning Japanese, my first question will be, do you want to, like, before learning Japanese, I would first ask that student that would you like to learn Japanese along with the career which you're doing right now? Like, if it is an engineer, then that person might like want to do the engineering job in Japan and be learning Japanese just for the communication. So there are
Mm-hmm.
different aspects. One is if you want to club Japanese with your current career and then get a job in Japan. And the second aspect is go completely in Japanese and become a translator, interpreter, and things like that. So
Mm-hmm.
regarding going with the main career, there are a lot of opportunities in Japan, especially for engineers and especially for those who are doing computer science or computer engineering, IT engineering, because there is a major lack of labor in Japan. Because like when the war was going on, because of the war, the population like dropped like decreased. And after that, what happened in Japan right now, currently people don't believe in marriages. They don't want to
Mm-hmm.
get married, they don't want to, reproduce. So these things again affect the population. So right now, Japan has a lot of elderly people and they have a major lack of youngsters or labor.
Lack of human resource.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then since Japan and India has good relations, Japan has also promised that within the upcoming 3 years, the
Mm.
like Japan is ready to hire people from India. And
Okay.
it is already been going on. Like a lot of people are going from India to Japan for working. So yeah, it is a very good,
So one aspect is study Japanese with engineering, club them, go to Japan
yeah,
because there are opportunities.
yes,
Which is not the case with Spanish because the Spanish economy is very different. Uh, uh, German, yes, you can go there after having a decent level and study whatever course you want. Then people who are in India and who are solely relying on Japanese, let's say they do N3 N2 and they have no other skill, no other educational background.
right. So they can do two things. Either they can opt for being a translator, wherein you translate a language, English to Japanese, Japanese to English, and it can be done by being in India as well.
It's
So
a
if
full-time job because these translation jobs are temporary.
yeah, no, you can do full time as well. Like
Okay.
depends. Like if you are a housewife, you want to earn some extra money, you can stay at home. You can translate the document, send it. There is a deadline. You have to follow the deadline, but you can do it, and you will get a like good wage for it. So
Okay.
the money is also good. So this is
Hmm.
one type. The another type is you go to the company, translate. And the
Hmm.
third type is interpretation, where you have to go to that specific company and translate what the people are talking about.
Okay, that's the interpretation. Okay,
Yeah.
interpretation.
And
Hmm.
if you are like if you like to, meet new people and have new experiences, then interpretation would be best. And again, the pay is very good. And if you do it properly, you can even get a chance to interpret for political parties. So
Hmm.
that would be a very good opportunity. And besides that, you can go for scholarships. So we have some scholarships which are paid by the Japanese government, and one of them is the MEXT scholarship. MEXT, MEXT. It is also called as Mombusho.
Hmm.
And if you like go to Japan by this scholarship. You get a fully funded scholarship for, let's say, 1 year or 6 months. Depends on what kind of scholarship you get. There are various. So once you go there, you can also get a opportunity to work in Japan. Like some companies might be able to pick you up from there. So that is again one thing.
Okay, okay, okay. So you can go to Japan, translation, interpretation. Um, w- these are your permanent jobs, translation and
Right.
interpretation. Then MNCs, can you work for your multinationals? And you first, let's talk about multinational, then I'll come to teaching what I think you are doing. Multinational, are there good companies? Are there good opportunities? I know a bunch of companies here in Delhi, in Gurgaon,
Yeah.
but otherwise, there are a lot of companies, or there are very few companies that are hiring.
Right. No, there are actually good companies, but I mean, it will be like a job then. Like, first, you will have to do certain things, and then after some time, you will get to a certain position. But there are good companies, and I mean, again, depends on what kind of work you're doing. Like, if
Hmm.
you have some knowledge of programming languages, you can get a
Hmm.
good position. If you don't know anything besides the language, then you might be able, like, you might need to learn some skills before, which are
Hmm.
suitable for that job. But there are a lot of companies in India as well where
Hmm.
you can go and work with Japanese. So that is
Okay.
also that.
Okay, so there is. Now my question to you is, for all these jobs that one wants to do, what level do they need? Firstly, I'll tell the levels. It is the other way around. It's N5, N4, N3, N2,
Yes.
and N1. It
Yes.
works the other way around, not
Yes.
in ascending, but in a descending. No, yeah, in a descending order.
Yes.
Uh, so, what level do they need if they want to work as an interpreter in a company? What is the minimum requirement?
Right. So N5 is the lowest, N1 is the most advanced. You do N1, you are all set. So the main, like what I've been hearing so far is you need at least N3 basic knowledge. Like you have to know Japanese and you should be able to speak Japanese till the N3 level, which is the third level.
Hmm.
But like when I was confused, when I wasn't like when I hadn't decided what I wanted to do,
Hmm.
so I talked to a like owner of a translation agency, and she told
Hmm.
me that whenever she's hiring people for
Hmm.
translation, she looks for people who have N2 and N1, that is the advanced level certificate or the knowledge, and the more the merrier. So right
Hmm.
now people are under a misconception that if you just do N3, you will be all set. But actually that is not the reality. If you
Hmm.
want to really secure a good job, then you have to learn till N2 or at least N1 or N2 like that.
Hmm.
So that is
Okay.
the thing.
So
And
bare minimum, if you want to get a basic job, N3,
yeah,
right?
N3. Yes.
N3. And how much time does it take for somebody who has zero idea in languages or Japanese? How much time will it take for an average student to learn Japanese? And do you need English as a base?
Yes. English is
Because
very
this is a very recurring question that I get for Spanish. So I want to ask same for Japanese.
Yeah. So English is required because if you are planning on going for translation interpretation, you will have to do it in English mostly. So
Hmm.
English is required. You have to be fluent in it, not fluent, but you should know basic English, the English which is taught till 10th standard, we'll say. And otherwise, you can also study the language from Hindi or Marathi. That can
Okay.
also be done because Hindi and Marathi is very close to Japanese.
Yeah, yeah. Same for
Similar.
in terms of how the structure is from that. मैं जा रहा हूँ. So in
Yes.
Japanese is what is how do you end the sentence? There's this one
Verb,
uh,
ikimasu.
ikimasu.
Yes. Yes.
Ikimasu. Yes, it's a yeah. And how much time did you say? Two? What? How many years?
Yeah. So if you are an average student, I'll say like for N5, you should at least take 6 months. A lot of people, what they do, they want to learn Japanese quickly. And
And just get a job. Like they learn and get a
yeah,
job.
and the thing is, the N5 level is the most important level you will ever study in your life. Like there
Hmm.
are four levels ahead of it, but if the N5 you do it properly, then you can like speed up the time of the next two levels.
Like if you're not good in hiragana and katakana, how would you learn?
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. And these people, they don't understand this concept, and they just like they want to, do everything quickly. So, people who are not good in N5, they try to go for N4. Just like, let's just
The
go
exam.
else.
So for better idea, what happens in Japanese is you learn language at one place, you give exam at another place. So what people do, correct me if I'm wrong, they'll study N5, but they'll appear for N4 exam.
Yeah. And or they feel like, okay, we have learned this much, so we are eligible for N5. So this
Ah,
is a very common misconception that I have seen a lot, that people are very confident about, let's say giving 2 months, studying Japanese for 2 months and then directly giving the exam. So this
okay,
shouldn't be done, because if you study the basic level properly, then
hmm,
the next two levels are very easy to do, very easy,
okay,
not difficult at all. But
okay.
if you try to do everything in 2 months, 3 months, then you are going to feel Japanese is difficult,
Okay.
because it needs some time to get,
So
achieved.
N5, N5 6 months, and then N4 and N3 will take what 6 months more.
Yeah, so N4 can be done within 4 months,
Okay.
and N3 also can be done within 4 to 5 months.
So 1.5 years for an
Yeah,
average person,
one and
one
a
and a
half or
half
2 years.
or 2 years to reach N3. Okay, okay, which is decent, good.
Yeah.
But condition being, you really have to give time because while I teach a bunch of students in Spanish, the problem is they only attend the 1 hour class. Outside the class, there's no effort. There's no curiosity to learn what is happening. And if it's difficult for Spanish relatively being a very easy language, for Japanese, I'm assuming you're not studying outside the class. Forget it. Forget about
Yeah,
learning Japanese or finding a job.
correct. No, that
N-
is very true. Like, actually, Japanese is not difficult at all. Like, personally speaking, I feel it is much more easier than English. So,
no, no,
yeah, no,
I disagree.
no,
It's so
absolutely. I can
difficult.
actually prove it to you. I can prove it to
Okay.
you. Yeah, so you can start, making your own sentences in Japanese within literally 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes. So the concept is easy. The only thing
Hmm.
is you have to be consistently going through that language for at least 10 minutes every day.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that is not being done by,
Increase the
yes,
vocabulary, learn new words, learn new kanjis, the multiple, because a lot of kanjis have multiple meanings as well, right?
yes, yes. Like there are total 2,000 kanjis,
Kanjis. Hmm.
yeah, which a pro Japanese person has to remember, and that gets multiplied when two three kanjis combine. So
A normal Japanese person would know what 1200, 1500 kanjis.
yeah, I think a normal person should be able to know, yeah, we'll say 1,500 kanjis.
1500 kanjis.
Yeah,
Okay, okay. Even a Japanese person out of 2000 knows 1500. So there
yeah.
is some scope to learn. Now, we talked about how difficult or how easy it is to learn Japanese. Now, I want to know if somebody wants to be a teacher, a Japanese teacher in India,
Mhm.
how what how should they go about the thing, or is it easy to find students? And how are the students? Because for Spanish, people listen to music, they'll watch Casa de Papel, they watch some movie, they'll come up to me, they'll learn for 10 classes, 5 6 classes, and they'll just go away. Why? Because they think I'll just translate everything ABCD to
Mhm.
I literally translate everything.
Yeah,
Done. Language is
yeah,
done. Now I'll be able to speak. But every language has four aspects.
yes.
I want to know how many out of 10, how many unwanted students come with a very false idea of learning languages or Japanese.
So you mean like how many people are like they take like they start learning Japanese but they quit,
And then they quit. They
right?
quit and how's being a teacher in India, a Japanese teacher.
Right. So for Japanese, fortunately, because of animes and because of like Japanese and these things being famous, there are a lot of people who learn Japanese with interest. There are only a few people who really want to just learn it for the sake of job. But
Hmm.
I'll say like if I have taught like 100 students, then out of the 100, only 10 are like, okay, I just want to do it for the job, or I
Hmm.
just want to do it for scholarship. But
Hmm.
otherwise, the students are really interested in Japan. If not animes, then they are interested in Japan. They are
Hmm.
interested in Japanese. So yeah,
Okay. 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 So it's not the case for Spanish or German or for Italian, which I'm assuming, because people want to learn as quickly as possible, find a job as quickly as possible.
Yes.
Least interested in the culture, the country, how language works. Just know the basic knowledge, just so that they could clear the interview and get a job. Okay. It's
Yeah.
different with because I feel if you don't put in the effort for Japanese, you're 100%
Yeah.
doing bad.
No, yeah. I mean, I have started observing this like recently. Previously, I didn't observe this much, but right now, in this year or this batch, I have observed it a lot that people want to learn it very quickly, or they want to do it for the sake of job or scholarships, but they don't want to take the efforts. So,
Okay.
but I can say that along with it, in some sense, it is the teacher's responsibility also to, maybe if they don't have the curiosity, we should try to generate curiosity in them with some ways.
Hmm.
So I feel that in some sense, not 100%, but
Hmm.
we should also, try to make it interesting for them.
Got it. So now, do you have any message for any aspiring students or people who want to learn Japanese before they start learning Japanese? Do you want to give a real picture? This is Japanese. It is easy. It is difficult. Uh, Whatever you feel.
Right.
Before you start, please know these things and then jump onto the train.
Yeah. So first thing I would like to say is please don't Google Translate. It does not work. It will not help you in learning Japanese. And don't go with Duolingo. Like you will learn
Thank you for saying it. Thank you for saying it. Duolingo does not work.
Yeah, because I am interested in Korean and I tried to learn Korean and it was like this is not working. I'm not understanding like why is this character like this? How are the characters there? And when I started learning Japanese, before that even I tried to learn it online and I couldn't understand that why are the characters like this? Why is it not like ABCD? What is the
Hmm.
difference? What should we learn first? So these things are important, and it is more important for an experienced person to teach you these things.
Hmm.
So don't learn online. Like, search a class, search a person whom you can trust with the language, and you will feel that this person is the best to guide us. So yeah, that is one of the thing which I
So
want to say.
no Duolingo, no Google Translate.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
been saying it since day one, the day I started making videos, and people get angry at me. I get the maximum amount of dislikes or hate on videos where I say Duolingo does not work. They're like, "Hey, who the hell are you? What you would know about languages?" Because my idea is not my idea. Every language has four aspects: reading, writing, listening, speaking. Duolingo is not doing any of it. You only read in a language, and even the sentences are out of the world. Does not make any sense, most of the sentences. And for Japanese, let's say you see one kanji over there, you would want to know why this kanji and why not hiragana,
yeah.
why not a different kanji over here.
Yes,
But
exactly.
who's gonna answer you?
Yeah, like you learn things, but it is in
Hmm.
bits and pieces. It will not give you the entire 360-degree experience of that language. So it
Hmm.
will not be of any use. You will learn things, you will understand things, but then in the end, it's not going to help you if you really want to go to Japan or Spain and like be there and learn the language like that.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm, hmm.
yeah.
Okay. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult it is to learn Japanese? Let's say 1 being our mother tongue,
Right.
and
I would
like
say
that. Hmm,
it's 4.
it's 4. On the scale of 1 to 10, it's 4.
Yeah.
And what would be 7? Which language would be 7 for you?
So, I mean, after this, I really want to learn Korean and Chinese, but I think I'll start with Chinese because Chinese has kanjis.
Similar scripts, similar script,
Yeah.
yes.
So I think Chinese will be 7 for me because it has a lot of specific pronunciations,
Mm-hmm.
confusing a lot of kanjis.
I
But
think Korean is easy because of Hangul, the script Hangul.
yeah,
Mm,
Korean is
okay.
relatively easy, and I have been talking to some people who are learning Korean. So they say that like the entire Korean you can learn it within 2 years or so.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I mean when you do Japanese, Korean seems a little bit easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. If once you start learning Oriental languages and you start with Japanese, Korean would seem easy to you. Like a friend was learning it, so he told me that the script Hangul is relatively easy, more round,
Yeah,
and very similar.
Yeah.
Before, I think Hangul, they were using the kanjis only in Korea. I think, if I'm not wrong.
No, I don't have any idea about
Okay,
Korea,
okay.
but might
Okay.
be possible because Korea, Japan, and China is in like same territory, and
Hmm.
even Japanese language has Chinese characters, so might
Hmm.
be
Hmm.
the same for Korea as well.
Okay, 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 okay. Now let's talk about Enzo. Enzo is not an alcohol. It's your,
Yeah,
it's your, not the whiskey. Your
yeah,
classes.
yes.
How
So
did you start? Are you the only one there? What courses do you offer? And how do you go about your classes?
yeah, so I started learning Japanese, and I like before starting, I obviously heard things like it is going to be difficult. You have to study for 6 hours a day, and I was really scared. Like you said, like I had no idea whether it would suit me or not. And then by back then, people had to directly take up classes which are for the levels. There was no like a short term course where you can learn Japanese maybe for 10 days, 15 days, and see if you really like it, if you are enjoying it, if it suits your schedule. So I had it in my mind that okay, maybe we can make like a short term 10 days workshop where we can teach how to read Japanese, how to make
Hmm.
your own sentences, how to start having conversations. So
Hmm.
this was my idea behind the course which I later started. So the first course which I started was a 10 days workshop wherein
Hmm.
you like start to read, write, speak basic Japanese by the end of
So
10 days.
it was just you who made the course.
Yes, from at the
Okay.
start I was the only one who was teaching, and after so I introduced that course and people started enjoying it, and they couldn't really believe because you are literally reading Japanese within 10 days.
This is a free course that you offer initially.
No, it was a paid course.
Okay.
Yeah. And after that, I understood that people don't know about this. Like, people don't know they can, do this within 10 days. So, after that, I started taking free workshops as well, wherein
Hmm.
I taught how to make sentences in Japanese within just 60 minutes. And
Hmm.
along with that, I gave them information about what benefits you have and how you can go to Japan. So once I started doing this, the awareness spread quickly, and then
Hmm.
more people started learning Japanese. And then after that, I started my levels classes.
So these are your online classes, or you have a institute or a place?
No, as of now, it's completely online.
Okay, okay. So anybody who's watching the video can really hit
Yes,
you up.
yes,
Perfect, perfect. And my next question was, now, do you have more languages, or it is just Japanese for now, or do you have more teachers?
yes. So currently we have four more teachers,
Hmm.
and right now again I'm just working on Japanese. I do want to add other languages, but I want to make the base of Japanese very strong first. Like they
Hmm.
should know the moment someone hears Japanese, they should come to Enso
Hmm. Hmm.
like that. Like they should think
And
of it.
and
So
how did the name come about?
yeah, so
For me, Enzo is the alcohol.
right. So actually, the name of my classes weren't Enso. Like it wasn't Enso at the start. It was
Hmm.
Sayuri, which means like a small lily in
Uh,
Japanese. So I started this venture as a small thing, and then it grew up into a big thing.
hmm.
And I like got to know that Sayuri is the name of another Japanese class.
Hmm.
So I had to change it, and I changed it to Enso,
Hmm.
and I kept it Enso because it is really short and sweet, easy to remember.
What
And
does Enzo mean, though?
yeah, so it is a part of the Zen circle in Japan,
Okay.
and it also means enlightenment and communication or connection.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, so being in languages, my main point was I want to connect the world with languages through languages.
Interesting.
So that seemed
Interesting.
like a perfect name for it.
Hmm. So now, I want to know, very one word that you want to teach, or one interesting word that comes into your head all the time, and you want every person to know it. One Japanese word.
Yeah, so it is a very famous word. I'm sure that most of you all already know it, which is it is called kuchi sabishi. Have you
Nah,
heard
what
it?
is? No, no. I know. Kawaii. I know mushi mushi
Yeah.
and itadakimasu. All those, but I don't know this one.
So Kuchi sabishi is the art of eating food
Huh.
just because your mouth got lonely.
Oh, Kuchi Sabishi.
Kuchi sabishi. So kuchi means mouth and
Hmm.
sabishi is lonely. So kuchi sabishi is the art of eating just because
Your
your
mouth
mouth
is
got bored. Yeah.
okay. Your tummy is full, and your mouth is only. I'll eat. Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, okay. So now I have a very curious thing. I give this example to everybody when they're learning Spanish. What do you call bread in Japanese?
Bread is pan.
In Spanish, bread is pan as well.
Okay. Right.
Pan, like pan, pan, bread.
Right. Yeah.
And why do I give this example is because we all know what is pan in Hindi.
Yeah.
So what I did, my technique was whatever words that are already there in our brain in Hindi or whatever mother tongue that we have, Marathi or Bengali, just find those words that is already there in your brain. Just attach one more meaning
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
This cool technique that I used. I'll give you one more example. You know what is bad in Spanish?
No.
Mal,
Sorry.
mal.
Mal. Okay.
Mal. We have a word in Hindi also, mal.
Yes.
So there's a lot of words that are there in my brain. All I have to do is
Right.
just add a new meaning to it. Is there any word in Japanese that already existed in Marathi or in English or Hindi that was there? Just you just needed to add one more meaning to it, and done. You're done.
Mm. Let me think. So we don't have mostly such words, but like my previous batch had this fun activity where we came up with the words and we like had a meaning to it. So
Hmm.
one of my student did this example where the word was yasashi.
Hmm.
Okay, and if you have you seen the movie called English?
Yeah, yeah.
So her name is Sashi, right?
Hmm.
And so she came up with a fun way to remember Yasashi, which is kind in Japanese.
Hmm.
So she's like, when Sashi finally learns English, at the end we say ye. So it
Yeah.
is ye
Yeah.
Sashi,
Yes,
Yasashi.
sir. So yeah, but basically you're relating two
Yeah,
languages to learn something. Yeah,
exactly.
that is my whole technique or the concept that I use when I was learning Spanish. There's so many words that are like that. No, so my last question or it's for you, Zai. Do you have any questions for me or anything you want to know?
Yeah, so I mean, I saw this series, the
Hmm.
famous one. I forgot the name of it.
Money
Uh,
Heist,
no,
Elite,
the Spanish one, which was very famous. And
Casa de Papel.
yes, so recently saw that, and I really enjoyed Spanish. Like I never thought, to be honest, that I would love or enjoy other languages, but I mean, I was very interested in Spanish. So yeah, it is one of the things which is on my to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so basically, I want to ask you that what keeps you going with Spanish? Because after
Uh,
a point, people just stop studying languages. Like I have done till this level, I'll stop now. So
hmm.
what is the thing which is motivating you?
For me, I as a kid I loved Spanish football. I still watch football. So football has been the biggest motivator for me. If I'm watching football, my favorite club is Barcelona. If a player gives an interview, by default, I would listen to that interview in Spanish. So I am by default listening to it. But football was one reason. It started off through football, but then I discovered the magical land of Latin America, where the music came out from. Then I discovered when I was in third year, that which is what 2015. Yeah, 2015. I discovered this genre called as reggaeton. The
Mm-hmm.
music, your J Balvin, Maluma, Manuel Turizo, Shakira, Daddy Yankee. I discovered these people. The music keeps me going.
Right,
I listen to if I give my phone to somebody, either they'll find Punjabi music or Spanish. There is no in between. So
right,
the music helps me a lot. I listen to a lot of reggaeton music. I listen because Spanish is not just Spain. Spanish is Latin America. Latin America is not just one continent. It's a bunch of different countries with different accents. So you want to listen to Argentinian music. You want to listen to Colombian, Puerto Rico. So all these countries with their culture, with their music, with the art. in everything. I'm not very a creative or an artistic person, no, but I really enjoy the music. Plus,
Right.
money aspect is always there because my work is around languages,
Mm-hmm.
and and I mean that's the only thing I'm good at: languages, talking about it, being very passionate about it. So that has always been my motivator, and that's the only reason I learned Portuguese. Because if you see from USA down till Argentina, it's every country that is speaking Spanish. There's just Brazil that was left. So I thought, okay, like my friends and I, we decided, okay, we learn Portuguese as well. There's one country left. We learned the language. It's very similar. It took us 1 year because the concept that they were teaching was already there. The fact that all these are your romantic languages, all of them revolve from vulgar Latin, so
Mm-hmm.
very similar in structure. So one thing that keeps me going is there's a bunch of things: the music, my career, me making videos on YouTube, me motivating other people to learn Spanish. Because after English, one popular language that will be out there is Spanish. If you go to US, you find a lot of Latinos. Like in terms of sports, also there's a lot of Spanish or Latin people doing great. So my motivator, like I don't need motivation. It's like I get up, it is my part of my routine. Listen to a podcast, listen to music, watch movies, maybe find somebody to talk in Spanish. So I don't need motivation. Motivation for Spanish now, for what I've been speaking Spanish for what, 12, 10 years now.
Wow.
It's yeah, I started in 2012. Started in 2012.
Great.
It's 2020. Yeah. So it's part of my daily routine now. And I we don't have a culture of languages in India, or learning a language, making a career out of it. A bunch of people are bringing it up, and I want to be that pioneer for languages, who pushes languages up in a way that, okay, you have your normal path. You join an MNC, you become an engineer, you become a doctor, that is fine. But outside it, learn a language, and I guarantee you a new world will open for you which you had no idea existed. I
Yeah.
had no idea about Latin America before I learned Spanish.
Right.
There's this new world, a new whole genre of music, a whole new culture. Like I enjoy a lot of Latin American food. So
Right.
just the culture part keeps me motivated.
Right. No, I absolutely agree. Like, whenever you want to learn a language, don't learn it just for the sake of learning it. Learn it because you want to achieve some goal. Like, maybe you want to see, um, maybe you want to listen to music in Spanish, or maybe you want to go to Japan. So that is one of the things which I saw is common between all the language lovers. They want to do something with it. They just don't want to learn it just for the
Hmm.
learning sake. So this is what I want to really promote, that don't learn it just because you want to go there. Like I see a lot of people learning German language.
Just because Germany has opened their doors for everybody to come,
Yeah.
get a B1, and then start their life.
Yeah, so like even I used to learn German language when I was in 11th and 12th, and it is a very good language, but I wasn't very drawn to it as I am drawn to Japanese.
Hmm.
So, and I see a lot of people learning German just for the sake of doing it and then going to Germany and then getting
Germany.
a job. So, don't do it like that. Maybe try to explore some things about Germany which will create curiosity. It will become more fun.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
True, true, true.
yeah.
It is. I tell everybody, if you're learning for those reasons,
It will
you're
become
not going
boring.
to do well. It will become stale. You leave it. I'll guarantee you.
Yeah.
And my idea was, because I saw people around me, and I
Mhm.
thought I can do way better. Like I have motivation. I can do way better in Spanish and in other languages if I'm interested to learn. Because I just do not see the motivation. And which is understandable. The only motivation is money, or maybe to go to that country and start a new life over there. But for me, that is not a very, if you say in largo plazo in Espanol, not a long term vision.
Mhm.
If you just learn and then you forget the language,
Yeah,
not
not used.
not the right way. And there's one more thing that came to my head was, make sure if you start learning a language, please finish it.
Yeah, that's true. Because like once you know that you have left something undone, then it can become your personality. You'll be like, okay, let's just leave it. So finish it,
Hmm.
and then you'll have that peace of mind as well.
Hmm.
So yeah.
True, true. So yeah, before we finish, I'm done with my questions. We have completed like 1 hour now. Before we finish, do you have any final words before we say goodbye?
Yeah, so to all of the people who are watching this, I will really urge you to, explore out there, and maybe if you are interested, if you are if you enjoy languages, you can start learning like you can start learning any language for fun, and maybe just learn it and explore the language, the country, and I'm sure that I can just guarantee you that you will like Laksh said, that you will find something which you never knew existed. You will get a new perspective to your life, and yeah, that's about it. So do definitely give language learning a try.
Hmm. By the way, thank you so much, Zahi, for accepting the invite in just 2 days. It was fun talking to you. I was always looking for somebody.
Yeah,
Like I know a bunch of people who know Japanese, but I did not want to talk to them. I wanted somebody different to get a different idea about Japanese language. Thank you so much for coming on my
no,
podcast.
it was
The
absolutely
language,
my pleasure. Thank you so much for the
great.
opportunity.
Not a problem. We'll keep in touch because I am trying to create a community of people who are motivated to
Definitely.
learn languages and also spread it, not just to learn a language and find a job. I'm
Yeah,
trying to build that community, and thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the podcast,
yeah,
and
I really liked
I
it.
had a great talk. Let's do a part two soon.
Yes, okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Adios. How do you say bye in Japanese?
Sayonara.
Uh, sayonara. Sayonara. Yes.
Bye bye.
Bye.
So guys, if you're enjoying the videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you.